So today was the first day that we actually went diving in the ocean.
We did.
Underwater in the ocean.
This was the day we were waiting for, really, the first few breaths in the ocean.
And we saw a lot of fish. The coolest thing was like when you look up and you see fish.
Yeah.
That was for me.
Yeah,
what was the best moment for you?
I don't know. So yesterday we snorkeled in some of the spots where we did a bit of the training, and it was really cool to see actually go down into the trenches that we couldn't quite reach. Free diving, and it was amazing how easy it was to get there. Equalize, get down to the spot. You could actually stick your head in some of the little crevasses and poke around some of the rocks with some octopus and fish and stuff you never could have seen from the surface. And it just felt like the door had been opened just a little bit further, kind of peeling back in there.
Keeping time is like, it's everything down there.
Still
everything
good.
is about keeping time.
And the thing that actually really amazed me today was how quickly time passes. Set the bezel at the beginning of the dive. You know, we're still not running with full dive computers at this part of the training session, so it is kind of cool. So the watches that we're taking down still have sort of a purity to them.
This is like scuba circa 1960.
Yeah, it really kind of
all
is.
Analog.
Yeah, it really is the analog depth gauge and everything, which is really kind of cool. And you know, setting the bezel at the beginning and kind of keeping an eye on. Okay, we've been down for 25 minutes. Check the air. You know, you can kind of get a feel for how quickly you're going.
I also did that. I set the bezel when I started diving, and I found that it's interesting to time the entire dive. Apparently, with the computer, you have to dive like how long you can be at certain depths. We haven't got to that yet. But actually, I think for a first dive, I think we went like really deep, for like 40 feet.
40 feet felt like a lot for the first time.
Yeah, that's like
I don't know if we should be saying that we went to 40 feet.
That's 4 stories down.
Day one, yeah.
Four stories down.
You get down to 25 or 30 feet, and you're like, oh wow, we're at 30 feet, and you kind of, you know, stick your head up a little bit, and it's a long ways off. And I think if it were darker, it'd be really easy to turn around.
Yeah. You know, we were talking yesterday about like the lifestyle of liking dive watches to remind you of diving, but you're not diving all the time wearing it. And so most of the other watches with depth gauges, especially the analog ones, there's like this giant useless part on the dial. And every single time you look at it, it reminds you of how useless it is. And part of the problem is it's usually non-symmetrical.
Yes.
You have some hand on there that's off to like the left or the right or something like that.
Yes, and you're big into symmetry too, aren't you?
Oh my god, I'm obsessed with symmetry. So here you have a depth gauge which is, it's out of the way. It's like you see that it's there, but it doesn't interfere with the time at all. And I can see how a chronograph underwater would make a lot of sense.
Yes, definitely. Well, and again, having just kind of, so I wore mostly my regulator today, and
how was that?
And it was great. It was one of those, you know, that again the instructor was asking about that. It's really cool because literally, pow, you can see exactly where the minute hand is in relation to you know, to the timing bezel, and so it doesn't get, it's the first thing that your eye catches,
and it's easy to read it. So in your regulator, the hand is red.
Yes,
that's
the
first color to go away.
First color to go away.
So what color did it look like underwater?
You know, it definitely goes to like, you know, it goes to various shades of pink, and when we were down near 35, 40 feet, it was basically a lighter shade of white. But the cool thing about it is the hand kind of, it doesn't overpower the dial by any means, but it's still at any color.
Oh,
it's still the first thing.
It didn't have to be. Yeah, no, it's not like it's not like it disappears. It just goes into like
the red is kind of a nice style statement above water.
Most of the people that have dive watches are desk divers. You know, like what, 99%?
Yep.
99% of dive watches probably never touch water. You know,
which is sort of the running joke amongst people. Oh, you don't need it to be 1,000 meters because you're never gonna get it wet. But at the same time, you know, it's still to kind of go back to putting something in a finite, in reality, essentially, that it was designed with a purpose, and that's the best thing about gear, really, in general. Some of my favorite things, regardless of whether you push them to the absolute limits, even stuff like today where you get a chance to really appreciate how it was designed and what it was designed for. The real purpose-built stuff comes to life in these instances, and that to me is something worth having.
So tomorrow we're going to see more animals.
Yeah, more animals.
And a sunken ship.
More, yeah. Hopefully fewer barracuda. We got pretty close to say. They tripped me out a little bit.
Well,
the instructor went like this on his arm, and then I went back. I was like this, and he goes, no, this.
I saw that.
And when we got topside again,
I don't know.
he was like, oh no, this is the sign for barracuda, and I was thinking this is the sign for he'll bite you here, and then he'll bite you here, and then he'll bite you
Your arm will be shaved off in these increments.
Chew it to the bone.
No, it's true, because when you see an animal that might even feasibly be dangerous, it's like you're at their house.
Yeah, yeah.
That's their environment. That's where they know to move around.
Just don't knock.
Yeah,
they're cool in their house. Just don't knock.
Especially what I realized was interesting is like if you're in totally still water, you can kind of maneuver. But when there's currents, and you're like being swept towards something you don't want to go to.
We were moving around a little bit today too.
There was a pretty significant current. So like I remember there was like a boat. We kept getting like pulled towards it. Like get away from the boat. I'm like I'm trying to. I'm not trying to go to the propeller. So all right, so that would be great. That was great for today.
So again, many thanks to Oris and to
Cobalt Coast,
has been great.
Divetech
to watch.
Grand Cayman.
This is the place to be.
Gotta thank the islands. Islands are most appreciative.
That's
right. All right, we'll pick this up
awesome.
tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.